Hello. What's up, everybody? Okay, so we painted this slime ghost a while ago. I'm kind of gonna keep going with like the idea of just painting random monsters, just because I think it's good. It's good practice. We'll be like painting different different kind of stuff, different kinds of things. My cat's crawling on the window, knocking things over. Cool. So I kind of have an idea to make like just like a monster that's like a bunch of meat, I think. So it's kind of like going along with like the flesh demon mythos, maybe. The Order of the Dark Wheel. And I think I kind of just want like multiple hands. Maybe there's like, I don't know. I'm always into the bone scythe idea. So it's like, I don't know. I think it just, I don't know. We're figuring stuff out. So I don't know. I'm thinking one giant eye would be kind of fun. I don't know. Would it have? Do we want to? You know, maybe. I always do like eyelids, just because I'm used to doing like human eyes. But I wonder if maybe we don't do it. Maybe it's just like a big fucking weird eye. I have some like veins and stuff, and then like. Do you think does it eat? Does it have a mouth? Are there eyes and a mouth, or is it just a mouth? That knuckle's super random. I like the idea of it having at least one opposable thumb. Maybe it's hands on this side, like weapons on the other, or like, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of maybe it's like an intestine piece or something, like something, or like just meat chunks, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of it being like tripe. Ooh. There's kind of something interesting about it having like teeth around the eye. It doesn't really make sense, but like, I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. It's kind of a cool design. Like, this is one of those times that I'm like, I don't know if it really makes sense, but I don't know. I'm really into that. Then I don't know. I'm thinking it has like, I don't know, like a nice layer of fat around it, maybe some marbling. No, I want to do it. I don't like that side of it. I like this bottom part, but I kind of want to make the thickness on this side. There's just more room compositionally. Maybe we could have a little bit of the bottom, and then it goes back here, like that. And of course I'm just sketching right now. I wanted the meat color just for the underpainting, or the underdrawing, just as like a reminder. I don't know. I feel like it need... Okay. I don't know. I feel like this doesn't make... I like the idea of having like a tripe whip or something, but I just don't... I don't think it like... I don't know. I think it takes away from the overall piece. So I'm like expanding it out a little bit more. Okay. I think having just like a little bit of change in like the shape of it from a traditional steak also makes it a little bit more horrific, a little bit more... Oh, you know what? Maybe we'll add a mouth over here. I feel like... Let me see if I like that idea. I kind of like this. This is like, we'll just have like a tongue, and then some teeth out here. We've got the main... I don't know why there's teeth around the eye, but like, I don't know. It just... Now it feels like there's like a face looking this way, but it could also just be like the main meat thing is over here. I don't know. Maybe... Do we want another eye? Maybe like a smaller one in the middle of the meat. I don't know. I could go with or without this one. I don't know. Maybe. Okay, just like texture all around, and then... I don't know. This feels pretty good. Just wanted to get rid... There's like a tangent going on right there I didn't really like. I think... Alright. I think it could be like dripping blood, maybe. I don't know. Maybe dripping blood off that? Yeah, I don't know. If I add that eye, I'll add it like as a top layer. I'm not gonna do it now. Or like, I'll add it as its own element. I'm thinking about like just how I'm gonna add it in via a layer. But color scheme wise, this is gonna be pretty straightforward in terms of painting the meat. Probably gonna overpaint a little bit. I'm gonna do the eye on its own fill layer. It'll just make it like a million times easier to paint. There's a part of me that's like, you should do the hard thing, but then there's also a part of me that's like, well, I would do the hard thing if it was traditional, and since I'm not doing traditional, I might as well leverage the digital aspects. I really just want to get a nice base to paint on top of, and then we'll go from there. And I'm always like conflicted over whether or not to use a lasso tool, because there's like something I enjoy about like painting in the base, like the silhouette fill, but I don't know. It's probably more accurate to use a lasso tool because you're going to get cleaner pixel stuff, pixel data and edges, but I don't know. There's some, like, I feel like aspects of this that I'm like, well, you could do this, you know, again, using the digital tools, but then sometimes you just want to do it like it's traditional. Alright, so we have that layer. Then I feel like using the shape tool is like the best when you're doing eyeballs. Make sure it's nice and easy. I think I'm going to do the same. Oh. I'm going to paint in some teeth here. And it's kind of bone growth thing. Okay. So might as well do the eye first. Great, clipping mask. Okay. Now, where do we want the light to be coming from? I feel like the left, bottom left maybe. I think that'll make the mouth a nice secondary read if we have the light on the left side. Okay. Then we'll give it a little bit of warmth. This transition's pretty rough. Or, I don't know, I think I can move that down more. Okay. was the wrong temperature. Back. I think I'm already starting too dark here. And the reason I'm like really focused on this is because it'll like kind of set the tone for the rest of the piece, since this will be the focal point. So I want to make sure that like this makes sense, and also makes sense. So it's like I'm setting a yellowish warm light, and then I have like this cool light on the backside. I think we'll do like a blue-green maybe for the retina, and it's gonna go more greenish as the light hits it, so this part of the retina will be brighter. And then also it'll like pass through and hit this side, so you'll get like more, another little bright peak over there, and then gonna push the shadow a little bit more there. Sorry, probably hard to see what's going on. Okay. Sorry, this one. Alright, that looks pretty good, I think. I think that looks like a eyeball. And then... Oops. Okay, I guess we're flattening that. Not super my intention, but yeah, it's fine. Let me smooth out the people a little bit. Trying to push the shading a little bit more. Right now. Okay. Alright, that looks like a legit eyeball, I think. Then I'll go up here. So I'm trying to like keep in mind that like the eye is not perfectly round. There's like kind of a dome over the eye. That's not really working. Struggle. All right. I really want like the reflection to go over the retina and the iris, but or the cornea and pupil and the iris. Sorry, but I don't think it's going to. I have to be okay with that. Unless I like put it over there on purpose. But I think it needs to be pretty straight on, to be honest. Given the perspective, because if it's not, I should like change the perspective of this eye. Anyway, okay, cool. We've got an eye. We've got an eye. Now we have everything else to render. So much. Sorry, I have to group it with this. Otherwise, everything breaks. This is going to be eye and teeth. We'll get to the teeth later. I want to get some work done on the meat. Okay. So let's take a red. Okay, so I'm keeping this this sort of on. I better save this. This is gonna kill me. I think its name is Steakulator. No, just kidding. The other one is like, this guy is like, maybe like Freddy, someone said, and I really like that. Wrong layer again. Why? Okay. I'm back. Here we go. So you're going to get a cast shadow from the eye because it's blocking the light somewhat. And then this side is probably going to be fairly dark. Back of the thing, back of the arm. I guess the other question is like, how much do I want to, do I want that to be fat or not? I don't know. I think this is holding up so far. This is going to be like highlights on this like little gum area, I think. I think I'm going to get rid of the eye. We'll figure out how to texture this whole thing going forward, but There's going to be some highlights on this part where the meat kind of sinks around the bone. Makes sense. Sort of. I'm gonna do, okay. I'm just doing this so I can see it, really. Yeah. All right. So this is where I'll break from the drawing a little bit, just to make a little bit more sense and how it like all holds together. Okay. Feels like that makes sense. All right. So I think I just have to first make sure that the teeth are like much darker than the eye, or like, I don't know, tinted a different color maybe. Pretty sure teeth are like have striations too. So they're not just like perfectly like shaped. They're like, I don't know, striated, I guess. So also the plane, there's only certain planes that are going to get like light. So I'm like thinking about that as well, or trying to at least. I'm gonna take off that last highlight. I think that too much. Just realized need to make some cast shadows. It just needs to be some little indication, like, I don't even know if you can see it, but that, like, there's a shadow being cast by the teeth onto the eyeball. So that obviously means we're gonna have to do the same thing for this, like, gum line, but today's kombucha, Synergy Pineapple. So we are, where are we at? Okay. Okay, yeah. So we did the teeth. We did these teeth. We can do the other teeth later. I want to get into this a little bit more. Okay. We're going to keep the shadow kind of in line with the existing sort of shadow that the teeth are making. Then we'll eventually have to, like, I'm going to do it now, I guess. Gums. Erotic or gruesome nature, that's the best part. Oh. Honestly, the storytelling's the best part, but I don't know. I mean, I'm all for the erotic part. The gruesome part, yeah, I don't care. I'm not like a gore chasing person, surprisingly, given the art I make. You would think you're like, oh, this guy loves it. And I'm like, not really. I'm actually not super into it, to be honest, but everyone thinks like, I mean, like, you know, I draw, I paint, I write pretty horrific stuff, but like, it's all in the service of storytelling and monsters, not gore or sex. The gums themselves will have a shadow where they kind of pucker around the tooth. And then, what did I want to do? Oh, I wanted to make sure that, again, that the tooth shadow is like, especially matching the gums. So it feels like the shadow actually is going over the form. Okay, that's all. And then I guess we can start getting over to like the highlights. And again, like once you start rendering one thing almost to completion, it kind of like dictates the style of the rest of the piece. So like I kind of prefer to jump around a little bit, but I think this is maybe a little bit more interesting to watch, I guess. Again, the lighting here should be the brightest, or actually the lighting here should be the brightest, because the light's coming from like this direction actually. I guess right. All right. A little bit of light going over the eye and like hitting that little spot. That's kind of what I'm trying to showcase. Okay, we've got most. Okay, that part is all nice and rendered. Now we just need to pick a fat color. gonna work out. No, needs to be brighter. So I'm trying to show that there's like this is the fat layer. This is maybe a little bit too dark. Let me see. Because it's, I mean, I don't know. White objects can look pretty dark in the background, but I feel like that reads a little bit better. Okay. And the reason I chose like this mid-tone is because like you always want to be able to go higher. Need there to be contrast for like to make stuff pop out, kind of. We're getting there. We're slowly getting there. I'm testing out rendering stuff here. I mean, I don't know. It looks kind of messed up, but might not be quite what I'm looking for. But let's go ahead and we'll have to kind of get oh, that's kind of a cool idea that like the fat marbling kind of goes up the R in some ways. The nice thing about meat is that it has like, or often has striations and stuff. So you can like just kind of render in stripes a lot of times and it sort of works. Yeah, no, that is going to get a lot of light. Just going to add a little bit of a shadow to that top layer, and then time to clean up some of this stuff. I like some of those shapes, like some of the erratic shapes. Then like there's a lot that's just not doing me any favors. Okay. Alright, there we go. That works. A lot better, I think. Again, this is why I left a little bit of value different so I could try to push the highlight a little bit more. So if I just had white already on here, like you wouldn't be able to see any of like that extra kind of texture. I actually want a little bit of reflected light on these. Just one, because of the placement, but also like these in theory are like the most, like one of the most forward things closest to the light. So that should like, I don't want to take, like you're always going to look at the eye first, but I don't want to take away from this, if that makes sense. All right. Slowly get in there. This is kind of an interesting place to go, is like have there be kind of just like this like rolling place for the meat, maybe. So it's not quite like a hood, but it's just like a socket in which the eye kind of sits and maybe rolls around a little bit in. Do I like that idea? I think I'm okay with it, kind of, but I still want it. I still think I need this to be like just a big shadow, and then we can build that closer, but it's still going to be in shadow, if that makes sense. So I think I have something on this gum layer. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Okay. So hot. Heat wave today. Sorry. I'm gonna repaint that on just the bottom layer. There it goes. So now it feels like there's like a hole around the eye, but then the eye is still casting a bit of a shadow over here. And then we could have like a larger kind of orifice for it to rest in. To kind of like keep the gums going, I think is the idea. Oh yeah, adding a little bit of purple to this I think will be good. Got a tongue, which is kind of hard to read, but one drop of blood just kind of hanging out there. Be a nice way for like your eye to kind of come back around to see the mouth down there. Alright, what else am I doing? What else? Okay, I guess back to the hand. Got to do some fun little rendering, but now it's just back to making sure this hand looks right. Where's the shadow line for fat? Just a little bit of it. Little bit to keep things interesting. Realized I was using the wrong light color. I mean, it's fine if that's like that could be fat. Like I'm not gonna stress out about it too much, but I should warm that up. And I go to a big brush just to like allow like the pressure to not mess with me as much, kind of. I don't like it. A lot of that I just did. Okay. I love that, like, fucking weird joint. That joint makes not a whole lot of sense, but I'm kind of okay with that. Why am I okay with it? Because it's weird. Doesn't always have to make perfect sense. Okay, we're coming along. We got 2 limbs. Still got some teeth and a bone claw to do. Alright. We can do that. We can do this. We can do this. We can finish this. Perfect balance. Sounds like Thanos talk to me. Oh shit. The magic sword. Don't fuck with the magic sword, yo. Otherwise, the magic sword's gonna fuck you. Okay. Okay, so to make these teeth work, we're gonna have to do a fill light, and that's what I kind of forgot earlier. I'm not gonna worry about it now. I'm just gonna like leave the teeth kind of as is, and then we're gonna come back to them. That's the plan. We do have to finish this bone thing though. I'm actually going to darken the whole thing almost and then come back around. Alright, that's like a weird bone thing. Save. Stop moving. Close. When in doubt, close and reopen. And we're good. Alright, so we've got... Okay, I'm like getting happier with this bone thing. And this gum layer, I think I'm going to have to do a lot of work of painting over it. But I don't want to paint over it yet because that's the top layer. Let's just try to get most of this meat part working a little bit. Kind of like the idea of having like this big bulbous part kind of like stack here. I feel like I might be getting a little bit too ahead of myself with some of those highlights, those really juicy, wet highlights. Only because, like, if you don't have the rest of your shit figured out, like, it could be a nice distraction because they're fun to do, you know? Add those and then, like, oh, it all pops. It all works. And then you're like, oh, shit, I didn't actually think about rendering everything and, like, I don't know. It's fine. It all depends on how this looks very barbecuey. It all depends on how what the level of finish you're looking to achieve. Okay, so this, I think, like, the backside and stuff, we can make that sing a little bit with a fill light. So we have just a pretty clean warm light coming back. We could use, I don't know, I want to do the fill light at the end, because I think, like, we could just do kind of something cool with, like, a blue-green light, keep going with the eyes, complementary color scheme. It'll make sense for this purple tongue a little bit more. Alright. Anyway. Let's just... So... So it's kind of about how are we going to render the rest of the meat. It's not like necessarily... like a chunk of something, I guess. I feel like for the shadow part, we can kind of sort of just like scumble it in and not worry about it too much. I have this temptation always to paint detail into the shadows, but that's kind of like, I don't know, it's not actually a good habit. It's actually generally not great habit of mine is that I like try to paint the shadows, because generally like it's okay if you have a lot of detail in the shadows, and then like your light should be like the lighted part should be kind of blown out. You don't want to have too much detail in both, because that's actually like it's kind of what we see when we take a photo of something, is you see like stuff in the detail in the shadows, detail in the light. But when you're actually looking at something, because of the way that we can only really focus on one thing at a time, we actually only see detail in the shadow or the light. And so, at least like close up with things, or in harsh lighting conditions. In like daytime, it's a little bit different, but, you know, like with monsters, you're trying to like evoke mood. So even though it's like this white background, like still trying to like that's why this whole side is dark, is that it like makes it feel way creepier. And it's like, yeah, you could have a you know what, I'm gonna just push most of that into the light. I feel like fat has traces of like blood in it too. I think even just like painting with larger strokes of like the different reds will actually give the meat a lot of texture without having to do too much. See, like, I feel like that actually looks really good. And it's sort of just going back and forth over some of like, you know, the fat is sinking into the meat, it's coming back out. Main thing now is like transitioning all of the arms into the flesh of the meat to make sure that's clear what's going on, and not just jointed pieces. Ooh, too much. Too saturated. Something like that, yeah. I was going in with like saturation and value, which is a little bit intense. I feel like you generally, with working with color, you want to go... You don't want to go too crazy with everything all at once. Unless you want high contrast pieces, right? Like if you're into high contrast, like you're going to want saturation you're going to want to use temperature, right? You're using like all of the properties of color all at once to get things working the way you want it to work. I think just I'm like slowly, just very lightly, kind of like and transparently painting over everything with this more saturated red, and I think that's gonna give it like this striated meat feel, but it's not going to hopefully be too texture crazy. And then I'm gonna like selectively place some like textured areas. So I can give it like a meat feel without having to paint the entire thing. Like I could actually go in with this texture to like, if this is actual meat texture and like you paint every single pore and everything if you're looking for photorealistic, but like I'm trying to paint something quick and I don't want to actually have to paint this texture over everything. But that just gives the meat a little bit more character and shine, I think. I think the shadow's too harsh. Okay. Overall, I'm actually pretty excited where this guy's going. I think, okay. Pretty much there. Now we get to do some kind of crazy stuff. I think like a bluish green rim light might be cool. And I think I'm really paying attention to this, so Okay. Yeah, I think that extra green light, just a little bit, like... I don't know why my thing got all small. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I think that rim light really brings it home. It, like, really helps with the green of the eye, and then, like, I think that was... It was a good choice, man. Nice work. Pat myself on the back. Cool. And it's just, like, really showing up on this side. It's like on the tongue, on the purple, which is a nice, like, that's a quick main focus, and then you're kind of like, oh, what's going on over here? Hopefully this composition kind of leads you back around to keep looking at the piece. But yeah. Steakulator. I don't know. Maybe this one's name is Mauricio? I don't know how you feel about Mauricio. I like Mauricio. I think that's a cool name. Might get rid of some of this, though. Some of that extra. Steakulator. Just like muscle and gum and tendon and bone and teeth and tongue and eye. And you're like, yay! Yay me. Okay, wait, I think... Some of the fat, I think, is going to have like this bright white highlight on it, especially up over here. Yeah. You know, fuck. I repaint this part. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I'm a liar. I'm a big fat liar. The reason is because, like, this doesn't really make sense. It has, like... Has too big of a hole. Needs to be something like this. And then this part just, it bleed. If the eye is casting a shadow, it just needs to bleed together with the gum part. That makes a little bit more sense, that it's a little bit more regular. There is this, like, darker shadow of the eye being cast, but then, like, at the end of the day, now we can take this and lightly... kind of hit this structure. So now it feels like there's just like a ring that goes into the mouth, kind of, and that makes a little bit more sense. It's not like an oblong weird shape, if that I don't know, because that's how it was reading before, to me at least. And you could argue maybe not, but like, I don't know, it's easier to just kind of keep it in that consistent vein. We'll add some big darker textures in here. We'll bring in some of this up here, maybe a little bit more. Smooth that out. Yeah. And then just like that, it's super harsh on the eye because the eye is wet. And then everything else is kind of a little bit more matted. It's being muted out by the shadow there. It's just we're gonna hit the edges, and then we're gonna get that little bit of light on the fat too, because that's gonna be it's kind of like a white color, you know. I think we can do a little bit more on the individual teeth. These teeth can just get like totally in shadow because of the tongue. Man, I'm really into that little tiny drop of blood coming from the tongue. Like, eh. And we're like, we're good. Are we good? Almost good. Almost good. I like that this light layer has been kind of like my fix any last stuff you missed layer. Cool. All right. All right, we've got a little steak monster. I don't know. What should this steak monster's name be? I'll leave it up to you. Let me know. So, yeah. I feel like, I don't know, I'm feeling pretty good. Ooh. Feeling fairly good about this. You know what, maybe... I feel like another boil or two wouldn't hurt here. Because it's like, it's weird. The only reason I'm saying I think I should add it is because, like, this is, like, the only instance of it, or, like, instance of, like, kind of irregular meat shapes. And I feel like... I feel like there needs to be something done about that. I like maybe the idea that the fat even kind of like runs into the striations a little bit here. Yeah, this was supposed to be just my lighting layer, but it definitely turned into like fix any weird things you see layer. Okay. Yeah, I like that. It just like I don't know. I feel like I could add a few more little boils, like half boils or balls of meat there, but like having it around a growth, I think like an irregular monster growth sort of like lends itself to like just the visual language of the piece. So I don't know. Overall, I feel like I don't know if there's anything necessarily that needs doing. If anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know. Need to just trim this layer off a little bit. So like the perspective of the sides are kind of weird. It's kind of like the meat is like folding, it's like puckering around the eye towards you, or like the arms are moving it in like a shoulder blades, but like I'm okay with that. Ooh, I'm into this. I think the purple tongue helps it out a lot. And I think, here, let's try this. Put... There's a part of me that wants to take some of this, or that red color, and then move it into like a purple. It's like almost, it's like I tried to, so just by sliding this, I keep it the same value as what I sampled. So, like, I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just like, just trying to add in a little bit of this like hot magenta into the piece. To richen up some of the color. Oh, I gotta fix that, but that's fine. And you could argue like because of the way meat is, like these could be veins. They could be, I don't know, it's just chromatic aberrations in the in the meat. But what I'm by doing this, I'm also trying to just unify the piece more, because we have like this purple tongue, and then having some of that like magenta-y vibe to it sort of just richens up the color and makes it a little bit more interesting than just like that flat red all the time. Because we have like this like a green red, and then like it's also the yellowish part of the bone and the teeth is going to help with the purple. Like it's going to work well with it, because yellow and purple are complement, so you're going to see a little bit of extra magic there, which is nice. I gotta fix that finger. I didn't realize that wasn't done over that. Okay. I think we're... Alright. So, I think... Alright. We're almost at time. Almost to the end of the stream. Is there anything else that I really want to do? Just to show that they're like two teeth there. Where's it drop? Can't really even see that. Like, you're not going to be able to see that, but it's fine. I know it's there. I know it's there. This painting is for me. Okay. I think overall I'm pretty stoked with this. It's original. So we have... So we went from this original drawing... I don't know. Yeah, I'm glad I took out the eye. This eye right there. Then, now we've got this. Oh, so much fun. So much fun. Yeah, we got the eyeball here. Okay. Anything else we want to do? I do want to always fuck around with the color, though. So, like, this is one of those things where it's like, it's very obviously meat-based, but it's like, what if it wasn't meat? What if it was, like, purple? Purple and yellow. That actually looks cool. It does, it loses, this, like, loses all context with different colors. Maybe, like, I don't know, like, that, you're like, oh, is that like a rotting piece of meat, I guess? I don't know. That guy looks fun, but he doesn't look like meat. Kind of like the sickly brown golden meat. Meat gone. Okay, wait. I wonder if I don't play with the hue. But if I bring the saturation down and then it's like sick meat. Sick meat. But I kind of want the eye to pop again. But like I'd bring this down and then repaint like that the teal and stuff to get the saturation. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with this. Do I need to? Part of me is always like push the levels a little bit, but I don't think I. Yeah, I don't think I need to. I kind of like it where it is. I could push the contrast a little bit more like I did. Maybe that was the right choice. Just yeah, like that. Such a minute tweak. But I do like that though. Alright, I think that's it, everybody. I'm off to go feed the cats. I think we are good. Thanks for watching. We'll do more painting next week, same time, same bat channel, etc., etc. Appreciate you hanging out. Hope everyone has a good morning or good afternoon, good evening, whatever your time of day is. But yeah. Okay, GGGN, everybody. Thanks. Like, subscribe, follow back. If you're watching this later, ask questions. Who knows? I don't know. Okay, cool. Thanks.